3, 2, 1.
Well, intro thing.
Yeah,
I don't know. We didn't come prepared this
yeah,
time.
we gotta stop.
Welcome
We gotta
back.
think
Welcome
of
back.
other stuff for this intro. But yeah, welcome back to Campy Cast. And thanks for tuning in to another one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm Paul Allen. Uh, Hi.
and I'm
Yeah.
Patrick Bateman. So,
Yeah.
welcome to Campy
Can't be
Cast.
cast.
I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know. What do you want me to say? Yeah, back again. Another
For
episode.
another spooky October
I guess we might
episode.
as well talk about
Ooh.
what we were gonna do this episode. So we were gonna do Halloween 3, actually.
Uh huh.
Yeah, the
You
third
were.
Halloween movie that has nothing to do with the other movies. But
Yeah.
we switched it up instead because I
I
guess we
changed my
just
mind. I thought this would make a better discussion, and
yeah
also I kind of lost interest in watching Halloween 3 because of unrelated
yeah
reasons.
we
This
didn't
might
do
be
it
the
at the
only
last
time we
second,
change it
luckily.
like that.
Yeah
Hopeful. Well, at least hopefully, I doubt a scenario like this would
yeah
happen again. But we're here now. We're talking about
yeah.
two. We didn't plan it like this, but you're getting two movies instead of one extra one.
Two
That's
two
cool. Yeah.
three if we're counting. Then yeah
Oh
three.
yeah.
Um,
Two movies for our second
Yeah, we
Halloween
decided to switch it up
special.
with American Psycho
La-di-di.
and American Psycho 2 because these are films that we're gonna watch anyway at some point. Mainly because, like,
Mhm.
I don't know, it's like, it's his icon. It's Brian's icon,
Oh
as you
yeah,
can
it is.
see.
That was
Yeah,
my profile pic on Letterboxd. I kind of forgot about that.
yeah,
But
it's our
yeah,
icon
and
here.
plus it makes sense to cover them now as opposed to like
Yeah, it's like,
they're not like strict horror movies. At least the first one, but they
yeah,
fit. Hush and
uh-huh.
yeah.
They fit well enough, and we were gonna discuss it for it was one of our planned discussions, so we thought, why not? This is a good time to do it. Let's do
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
But
we'll talk
before
about
we
the
get
second
into
one because
that,
why not?
yeah.
Yeah.
But before
Also,
we get into that, we have another thing
yeah, and before that,
here.
yeah, we were also gonna be debating on talking about the new Owl House episode, but since that's
Yeah.
only like 40 minutes and like the other two episodes are gonna come out next year, we might as well save that for its own thing, so we have more to
Yeah,
discuss.
we might just do not to spoil, we might do a whole different thing with Owl
Maybe,
House
yeah. It's a
eventually.
show
But
it would be fun to talk about at some point. Yeah,
yeah,
we're still like
but yeah,
seeing
look,
of
the
what we
point
could
is,
do with these
if you want to know
show games and
episode,
whatnot.
yeah. If you want to know episode, very good. That's our short thoughts on it. If you were curious, if we were gonna discuss, very
Yeah,
good episode. Yeah,
yeah.
excited for the other two, like
Uh huh.
3 months each. But
Yep.
yeah, thanks Disney.
Yay.
Yay.
Okay, so we just jump into
Yeah, we'll jump into it.
the new
I,
release, I guess. Yeah.
mhm.
And it's not Halloween ends. No Halloween this episode. It was gonna be that, but
Well, technically, we wouldn't have Halloween anyway, because Halloween 3 is not a Halloween movie.
yeah, true.
But yeah,
Yeah,
but
we ain't watching Halloween Ends because then we'll have to watch
mm.
the other ones, and I don't think it's worth it. Maybe another day we'll do all
If you
Halloween
bribe us
movies. I
enough, we
don't
could do a
know.
Halloween, all the Halloweens
I don't know.
someday.
I've only seen the
But
first one, but yeah. Um,
mm.
yeah. So let's talk about the new release, the new epic horror movie that has been just mind blowing, just incredibly subversive and unique. I've never seen anything like the movie Smile before. Yeah,
Yes, that is
great
true.
movie. Okay.
Smile.
This movie
Hmm.
blows. I didn't like it at all. I thought it kind of sucked. And I know a lot of
This movie is
people
very bad.
think
I
this
don't
film
hate
is
it, but it's
really
not very
creepy,
good.
really scary for some reason. And I'm sorry, I just don't understand why creepy smiling is now considered scary. I'm gonna
No,
say it.
because honestly, it looks more funny than scary. Like if you look at that poster, it's funny. You're just like, look at that
I,
smile.
I find
I
that
can't take it
funny.
seriously. It's just a smile.
It's just
Like,
someone smiling creepily, I guess. I don't
yeah,
know. You can't expect someone to do a real smile, like just a weird smile face thing, and expect me to
Mhm.
find that creepy and unique. Because it isn't.
Yeah.
It's incredibly lame. It's incredibly pretentious in general.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, we talked about the Banana Splits movie last episode, and like, I was like, talking about how I think that film took itself too seriously and would have been better if it was like maybe parroting something, just took advantage of its idea and just did whatever with it. This film is kind of similar in
Hmm.
terms of that, except it's less bonkers and bizarre as the Banana Splits, and it makes slightly more sense to take seriously. Which, and unlike
I
that movie, when it
guess.
makes absolutely no sense to take that thing seriously, yet the movie
Hmm.
attempts to anyway, based off of how goofy the character design
Yeah.
is with the
Okay,
Banana
before we
Splits.
get further into it, though, what I do want to say is even if this was like the best horror movie ever made, I still that's
Yeah.
Smile, very bad title. You like it's a funny title, but I can't take that title seriously. It's like what Smile?
I don't
Like,
know. We shouldn't be criticizing the title. There's much better
oh no, there are worse problems. I'm
things
just
to
saying from the get
criticize.
go, it's like
Yeah,
Smile,
yeah. They're gonna
really?
like you said
Mm.
when we were talking about this earlier. You said that if they made a sequel, this will become the next big horror franchise. They're gonna call the
Yeah.
sequel Smiles.
Oh yeah, I did say that. Yeah,
It
Smiles.
would make sense.
Smile Cubed. Do all the alien titles, but for Smiles, maybe
Smile
Smiles is
Prometheus.
for
Smile
mhm,
Ends. Smile
that's
Attorney at
Halloween.
Law. Yeah,
Uh,
who's hyped for all these Smile sequels if this film does bomb?
Smile Out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is this
a
really
lot of
what we're
great.
doing in horror movies right now? Okay, we haven't talked much about the movie's plot as for itself, but
Uh-huh.
it's really
There isn't really
boring.
much of one. Well, there's technically a
Yeah.
plot. It just kind of
It's really lame.
lame.
The plot
Just
is
one.
about this therapist who her name is Rose according to Letterboxd as I'm reading right now. Um
Hmm.
like after oh wait, yes, spoilers for Smile. Um if you care. I don't know. Like
I don't know if I
I
can
don't
give you
know.
spoilers. I might have forgotten some of the
Yeah,
spoiler
it's really
parts, but
forgettable. Plus, we watched this with like a group of people, so we kind of like zoned out of the movie at times.
yeah,
So
I
yeah,
made a bunch of prisoners jokes. That was fun, but the movie
yeah.
was
I
not
don't know.
very fun.
Don't ask why. But
Yeah.
anyways, after
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah, okay. So she witnesses one of her patients dying from smiling. Ooh, creepy.
Ooh.
And then
And then she kills herself with the knife.
in
Ooh,
that
so
scene that made me
scary.
laugh like really hard.
Mm.
like
I'm pretty
and
sure I
then
chuckled at that part too. How do you
yeah,
take that
and then
seriously?
after that, like I guess what she had with like these illusions starts spreading to her, and now she's seeing these illusions of people smiling at her, and she ends up losing her mind and going crazy. And that's
Hmm.
kind of where the plot stops for the majority of the movie. It's just like it's
Hmm.
mainly just her running around saying, oh, the people I see smiling everywhere. Oh no, so smile, so creepy. Oh no, I'm gonna die. I'm not crazy, please.
She
It's
did the goofy smile. Ah, what do we
ah,
do?
like there's a
Mhm.
lot of funny moments, but it
So
is
honestly,
mainly
the funniest part of the movie to me is it was kind of in a morbid way, right? This is one of the main parts I remember. It's when she goes to that one patient's room and then the one patient keeps saying, "You're going to die.
oh
You're
yeah,
going to
that
die.
was
You're
so
going."
funny.
Like that part's like it's like how do you
How do
genuinely
you take
I
it
don't want to be mean, but I
seriously?
don't know how do you take it so
The
goofy.
actor sounds
Forget if
like
you
he's
like this
about to
movie in a
burst
goofy
out
way, because
laughing.
honestly, there is ironic. I think like it's not that much, but there is ironic enjoyment I think you can get from this movie. But for most of it, it's just like how it's so
Right.
silly.
It's
Like
so
what?
overwhelmingly silly. And the whole film is
Hmm.
very independent on you finding creepy smiling scary, to the point when you don't find that scary, I just can't get any enjoyment out of it. And in general,
Yeah.
like from a standpoint, I just don't understand. I just don't. This is just such a weird, cheap way to scare someone. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess I can kind of not really understand why this creeps a lot of people out, because apparently in a lot of
Mm.
positive reviews I hear people like complimenting this as like, wow, this is really creepy, guys. This is the scariest movie I've ever seen.
I
And
think it could only like the vague imagery of like the smile. I understand. I find that funny, but I could mildly understand how someone would find that creepy. But I don't think that really carries a whole movie. Like
yeah,
you can't be scared by that the entire time. It
yeah,
just becomes
exactly.
lame.
It's like, yeah, there's a lot of from like I thought the film was weirdly directed in terms of like how on the nose and corny a lot of
Oh
the
yeah,
dialogue
there were a
was.
lot at the beginning. I noticed there were a lot of close-ups. Weirdly, I don't know if
Yeah, a
just
lot of
me.
moments
Yeah.
like that. Like, I guess they were trying to make like this bizarre, creepy, eerie horror film, but I think it's like sole concept would does not fit with this type of idea for a horror movie at all. Like it's just painfully formulaic and generic. We've seen this multiple times. So, ooh, someone's losing their mind. Uh-oh, they're like, oh,
Whoa.
uh-oh, he's losing it. The therapist, blah blah blah. Oh, how ironic! She used to be the therapist, but now she's the one needing to seek help. I guess now. How that's so clever. That's just so lame.
Ah,
This is
so dramatic.
incredibly
Yeah.
generic and lame horror movie. And honestly, I'm not even a horror fan, and I still noticed like a lot of like how cliche and uninteresting the whole thing was. Like there are a lot of moments and ideas that I felt like this is I've heard of this. I've seen something like this before in
Pretty sure there were
popular.
like, don't quote me on this, but there was like at least a jump scare or fake out jump scare one part. Am
Yeah,
I
there were a
remembering
lot of
that
those. The
correctly?
jump scares were
They're
cheap
really
and
lame.
very predictable, yet I still fell for some at times because because I don't know. I don't know.
Ooh.
It just made me
I
jump.
mean,
I'm
their
like,
jump
ah,
scares can catch you off guard. They're just not good.
yeah, they're
Like
not like
it's like
clever or
because
anything.
once you take away the unexpectedness of them, what do you have
Exactly.
really?
It's
Like,
just boring.
uh,
It's just like it's a couple funny moments. Like I like that scene when she goes to the birthday party and then like the kid who looks like the kid from Stuart Little ends up opening a present and then
mm.
it's like her cat who for some reason's name is Mustache,
oh,
which is one of the weirdest
oh,
parts.
oh god, remember when they swap out the cat with the train? That part's so goofy.
Yeah,
Like,
it was like there and then
oh,
it
that
was
whole birthday party scene is so
it's
just
so
goofy in general.
weirdly put together. It's just, I think it's like such a weird way to portray trauma. Like, I think Smile, like the whole thing is supposed to be some entity built up by trauma, and it's like a demon that spreads from person to person after that person who has it dies and the only way to get rid of it I think is to kill someone else, which is why the other guy who had it was in jail. I don't know, at times I just completely tuned out because I thought the movie was so boring. Like it
Mm.
really is
And we got
boring.
like a couple like laughs the entire movie, and that was just when the movie just got ridiculous with
Haha,
some like
funny.
yeah, like that birthday scene, the part where she like after that like the stupid swap part, and then she falls over and crashes into the glass. The part is so
Yeah,
silly. It's like a slapstick comedy. Like how do you take that
this
seriously?
was
It's just
like, I don't know if it was like a type of, if it was like a horror movie like Scream, like, kind of like did something with its like genericness and like made fun of like this type of idea because it's a dumb idea for a horror movie. If they like parodied it, I
or you could make
spoofed it
a
in some way, just like
You could
made
make a
fun of
funny
it.
movie where it's like with this concept. If you wanted to, I don't think
Yeah,
that's what
play
this
with
movie
this
was going
generic
for.
idea for a movie and like just go all out with it.
Because it sounds like a joke idea.
It sounds like a
So
shit post.
yeah,
It's
it's so
not
dumb.
bizarre in like a way, but it sounds like a fake idea for a horror movie. Hey, what if there was a horror movie? But get this. What if the main horror factor was that people smiled? It's like not it's just such a weird way of building up this like tension which just completely derails the sound design of the movie, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Mhm.
there's so much moments like that in the movie. I don't know. one of the main actors looks like Damien Chazelle. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know
Uh,
if it was just me with that, but like I seriously, that was the only enjoyment I got out of it. It was like, wait a minute. That guy looks like the director of Whiplash, which is an actual good movie. Wow.
yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Very clever.
Mm.
And yeah, there's just a lot of weird horror moments, but like they're all ruined for me because of just everything is so ruined by the main idea and concept of the movie. That's like most of my issues with it, right?
Hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. I like. I think honestly, the whole thing just comes down to the core of it, right? Because if you want me, like, obviously there are other problems other than just the concept, but at the very base of it, this movie is expecting me to be scared by something that I can only really get mildly, maybe scared at. It just it's a smile.
It's a
Like
freaking
it's a
smile.
creepy smile,
It's funny
but
to
it's
me.
still
It's
just a smile.
hysterical, but it's not worth.
Look at it.
It's not worth sitting through this almost
Yeah,
like 2 hour movie just to get to those mildly funny parts. A
yeah,
lot of
exactly. It's
corny
not
and
worth
dumb
it.
dialogue. Like, the acting was fine. Like, I guess the main actress was okay. She sold the trauma decently well. But once again, if she wasn't panicking over fucking smiling, then it would have been more effective. But it
It,
wasn't.
yeah, I guess that's not like. I guess that's technically not what, like, obviously the smiling's not the big issue. Oh no, the one person killed themselves. Oh no.
Whoa.
But I don't know, just what do you need to have this if you take away the whole smile aspect, then it basically just becomes a movie, but oh no, these people go insane because this random thing. That's just like what's interesting about that, honestly?
Yeah,
Like
so lame. I can't name of a single interesting thing that separates this from another horror movie about like someone like I don't know
mhm,
going crazy over like illusions and whatever and losing
mhm.
it. I don't know. Like I might have not. I don't know. Can you name an example of that? Because I've definitely
Uh,
seen it. I don't know if I've sat
except
through an entire film about that, but I've definitely seen this trope
wait,
before.
an example of what?
Like,
Uh,
that type of trope in a movie with like someone going crazy over like illusions and
oh,
whatnot
that's
and seeing.
definitely. Uh, fuck, I can't put my finger
Yeah,
on
I
it.
know there's like a
I,
lot of
I,
stuff like
I
that.
just watched it. Actually, I just watched a Treehouse of Horror segment about that. So maybe that is
It's a
probably
really
parroting.
yeah, I'm
That's
not,
probably
like
parroting
I
something
said,
that's theory.
yeah.
It's in horror movies. It's an obvious thing to go insane.
Uh-huh.
The
Yeah.
Shining's the main one.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah, that's a good
The
example.
Shining,
Yeah.
The Shining too. Another good
Yeah,
example. But
it's like
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like everyone knows their horror tropes. Like I'm not even I haven't. I'm probably not an expert of calling something like this derivative since I don't watch like a lot of horror movies. But like even I know a lot of horror tropes. I recently watched Scream, and I think that movie did a good job at playing with those typical horror tropes that we all like notice in those movies. Blah
A
blah blah.
Scream.
Splitting up. Um, oh, why don't you just walk away? Oh no, why are you doing that? Why, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I don't
Those
even think,
typical
honestly, at the
stuff.
end of the day, I don't know if it comes even down to it being cliche. It just so uninteresting.
Yeah,
whoa, wait, really?
it's not even like,
This is what you're
yeah,
doing.
it's just such a
Okay,
lame horror
smile.
movie.
Thank you, smile. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
so the whole thing is like, I guess the smile is just like some entity demon thing that spreads from person to person. Which I'm trying to read upon it because like it was vague in the movie. I couldn't really. It's just kind of a weird thing to do with this idea. Um, let me see. It was something like some entity that was like built up from trauma, like I stated earlier, like spreads from person to person, and like the only way to get, I guess, if you die, it spreads to that other person that's with you, and the only way to get rid of it from the wait, I already explained this earlier with like that, but I think
Mhm.
that's how it is. Like, and the only way to get rid of it is like killing someone, which is why that one guy is in jail I guess.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I don't know. The film completely lost me. It was so boring. Holy cow. It's such a pretentious, boring horror movie with
Yeah.
nothing interesting to say other than ooh, creepy smiles, blah blah blah. Like I don't think I got anything out of it. Like I think the only reason like I might have tolerated it at times was because I saw it with like people, right?
Yeah, that's only why I just had fun watching it with other people. It wasn't even related to the movie,
Yeah.
really, just kind of
Uh-huh.
other
Because
stuff.
if I just saw
That
this by
was fun.
myself, I probably would have fallen
But yeah,
asleep.
I'd be super bored if I watched this on myself. This would be so lame.
Yeah, it is really lame.
But
I don't know.
yeah.
Like, I guess, yeah, there's just a lot of parts of the movie that are just, like, supposedly dreams, I guess. Dream sequences, like frickin' Fred the movie, which is just a random example, which I feel like I'm one of, like, the two people who would compare that to. But,
Oh yeah, it is. It's like Fred too.
yeah,
For
Fred
all
2,
the dream sequences.
the iconic classic Fred 2. We all know how good that is.
Yeah.
It's so lame. This is
Oh
such
my gamut.
oh no. Man, this is just I'm getting tired discussing about this movie. It's like and then there's the ending when like the main character battles the demon who is I think possessing her because at times he can possess her. I think and then that allows her to do stuff and see things. And then there's just this weird ass sound design that just doesn't fit with the movie. It just like, why do this as a concept? I guess they have to throw in this random demon bullshit just to try and make it remotely interesting. Because there is literally nothing you can do with this concept besides making it one of the most painfully boring, generic, and pretentious horror films I've ever seen. To be fair, I need to watch
Yeah.
more horror films, so maybe I can fully like critique certain aspects of this movie's derivativeness in the future. But I could just
I
tell.
don't even
I could
watch a
just
lot of
tell
horror
that
personally. I
there
can
was
just
something
tell this
about it.
isn't
Yeah,
great because of like
exactly. It's just there's
con.
just nothing to it. There's nothing I got out of it. Like I just can't
Yeah.
understand why people like this movie. I'm sorry. Like, what is there interesting about it? Nothing.
Yeah.
Like I don't think this movie does it like I think it's just like such a weird way of like I think they were trying to explore trauma, but I think the movie just did such like a poor job of showing it because the movie
It's
really
like
does
Steven
nothing with
Universe
it.
that explores trauma.
Why are
Yeah.
yeah, honestly,
Like
the
that.
only interesting thing we can do is just bring up random things just to compare it to.
Exactly. Smile is just an inherently not interesting movie.
Yeah, it's
It
so
probably made it
it's,
not the best discussion piece at the time, but I
yeah,
don't know.
I don't know.
We needed a modern release to discuss, and he didn't want to watch Trick or Treat Scooby Doo, so
Maybe
you had to
next
pick this.
time. Yeah, we watched this because why not?
Ooh.
We pirated it, by the way. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
I watched
right.
the
We
camera.
did it.
Oh yeah, that's another thing we could bring up. The slot machine guy was very funny. Like, he
Yeah,
was the
yeah. I
best
love the
part of the
part when the
movie.
slot machine guy showed up, and then he
Mhm.
like put the fruit in the blender. Oh, that was so good. That was like wow, I'm actually watching a movie. And then they immediately start to cut back to the boring character drama, and it's so lame because it's just portrayed so weirdly. The acting, like I said, was fine, I guess, but like but there was just some on the nose dialogue. Like I think the main character's like boyfriend was just really odd in terms of his performance and just felt really weird in the movie. And then there was like the professor guy, which I thought there was something off about. I don't know. There's just something off about this movie's dialogue. It's just awkward and on the nose and just doesn't fit the tone of the movie for me. The whole thing just feels like it's just tone just feels so all over the place for me because like it just all comes down to the concept for me that really derails the whole thing. Like I can't think of much stuff of value. It's just such an empty, lame, pathetic excuse for a horror movie. I'm sorry. It's so lame. That's all I can. There's nothing to say.
Yeah,
I'm surprised we were able to talk about this movie for this long.
yeah.
Honestly, I could just say it's not scary. It's boring, but I tried my best to elaborate on it. I guess. I don't know, maybe I did not understand the themes, but there was nothing that the movie did to make me want to understand them because the movie did a poor job at engaging me with the main character. Because it's like one of those instances when, oh, you have to care about this main character. He's going through trauma. She's going through trauma. Don't you find that relatable? Bad things are
Well, it's
happening
like
to her.
Halloween 2 2000. Oh, that's damn it. This is completely unrelated, but that's what Halloween 2 2009 does. Ooh, trauma, feel bad. It's one of
Yeah,
the main
I
things
don't
about
like when
that movie
horror
is
movies
awful.
do that. Like, just endear them in a different way. Don't do this, like, thing when, oh,
Exactly.
don't you feel bad for the main character? She's going through something. Uh-oh. I have nothing else to say. It seems that you had
Yeah,
even less to say than me because you
I
didn't
had
even
less
fully
to
pay
say, but
attention.
I don't know. I paid attention, but I don't know. It didn't deserve my attention
Yeah,
after a
I
while.
don't
Damn it,
blame
it
you
was too
for not.
boring.
I'm surprised I even
But,
paid attention.
mm-hmm. But yeah. I
Yeah,
think can we give
it.
ratings
I
now or
should. Yeah, I think we
yeah.
might just end this off here. Honestly, we could say more, but
Uh-huh.
it's just there's nothing really interesting about it. It's so lame. It's boring. It's stupid. It's 3 out of 10 movie. 3 or 4 out of 10. I don't
Yeah,
know.
3 out of 10 for me too.
Yep, it blew. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys, but like I just don't understand it all for this, like at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't think of a single interesting thing that separates it, like from any other interesting film that dealt with this type of trauma and whatnot. I don't know. There's like I haven't might have seen a lot that have that, but something tells me there are definitely better ways to explore it, and I think this film did not do that good of a job of it based off its idea. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so 3 out of
Yeah.
10 for Smile. It sucked, and I'm probably not gonna think about this movie after finishing this sentence.
Yeah. We're done.
Well,
So can
yeah.
we move on to
Oh
the
wait,
other things
yeah.
now?
Yeah, I guess so. Um,
Uh-huh.
American Psycho, baby. Yeah,
Yeah,
American
so we don't
Psycho.
really have to introduce it much. We already said
Yep,
that we were
we already
talking
said we were
about
gonna
both.
talk
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, so
American Psycho is one of my favorite. Actually, I think it is my favorite horror movie ever made, which is
really,
why I
huh?
wanted to talk about. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it's
Is
the
it a
best.
horror
I've seen
movie?
better, but
Is it?
technically, but like
Meh.
it has more. I don't want to say more to it that's insulting to horror movies, but there's like it's not horror in the traditional sense, I
Yeah.
guess. But yeah, so
Huh.
to give a quick plot, not plot, yeah, just a quick plot summary. It's about Patrick Bateman,
Patrick
rich,
Bateman.
rich
He's a
yuppie type
rich. There isn't
in the
much of a plot.
1980s.
He just
He
yeah.
yeah,
Spoilers for American Psycho,
yeah,
but it's just him. It's just him murdering people,
yeah.
and it's well
Or did he
executed though.
murder them?
Or did
Ooh,
he? Well, we'll get into that
we'll
because I think like
see.
this movie does a good job of the whole ending interpretation thing because I think it did a good job and was
Yeah.
built up. So
Anyway,
yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I saw it earlier
yeah.
this year, and I ended up rewatching it again because, like, yeah, sure, why not? I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it as well.
Yeah.
First thing I want to bring up is Christian Bale's Christian Bale's performance in this movie is probably one of my favorite just acting performances in general of all time. He is amazing in this movie.
Yeah,
He's
he's
like
good.
he sells the role perfectly. Like I just can't imagine. Like apparently he wasn't even like originally gonna be Patrick Bateman. They had like a
Yeah,
bunch of other
Ewan
people for
McGregor
the
was
part.
offered. I'm pretty sure. I heard that
Yeah,
somewhere.
I heard. Oh yeah, I think Leonardo DiCaprio was offered at one point. Don't
Really?
quote me on that.
I
But
don't think he
yeah,
would fit that role. I think Christian
yeah,
Bale,
but
looking at it, it's hard
I
to
think yeah.
picture him
Mhm,
without Christian Bale, but that might just be because he's become a big part of it.
mhm.
But I think he really sells this character.
Yeah, exactly.
Patrick Bateman
And
is such a terrible character. No, no, he's a
mm,
good character, but he's
he's
terrible in
amazing,
terms of
but
his
he's an
action.
awful person. But like that's what's
Yeah,
so interesting about
that's
him.
what's
He's kind of
interesting.
like Clay,
It's he's
actually.
so
Funnily enough.
awful that it's become a meme of how
Yeah.
terrible he is. That's
Mhm,
that's how fun. That's how it's because you don't know what stupid thing is gonna piss him off next. You don't know what
mhm,
stupid decision like he kills someone because his card was better than his.
mhm.
Like, it's
He
because
kills the homeless man because he asked for
because
cash
yeah,
and
and he thought he
he
was
was
dirty
poor.
because Patrick Bateman is a corrupt psychopath which fits with the
Yeah.
movie because it's called American Psycho. Of course he's gonna be a psychopath.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, one thing I do want to mention is I don't know if I just want to plug this. I can't remember what review of it this was, but I think in one of Hal Letterbox users Letterbox reviews, he said this specific thing about how he said that the scariest horror movies are the ones where the themes or the message behind it are scarier than the actual like kills itself. And I think this movie is actually a perfect
I
example of that
agree
because
with
the
that
actual
statement.
because the actual murders and horror in the movie aren't very vulgar or very like over the top, but the actual message behind it or like theme behind it is basically like to get into the I know it's kind of early to get into the ending, but the basic idea is we don't know exactly if Patrick Bateman actually did kill anyone or not. He could have
Yeah.
for all we know, he could have imagined it all. He didn't even actually kill anyone. But for me, I don't think that's the point necessarily. For me,
Yeah.
I think no matter what you go with, the message stays the same. Because no, either way, Patrick Bateman's this insane person. Even if he didn't kill anyone, he's just an asshole or like he has corrupt worldviews on most things.
Uh-huh.
He's just this person who's just basically insane. And even if he didn't murder anyone, he clearly had thoughts of murdering people. But because of his like status and place in society, he can basically get away with anything
Yeah.
just because of his position. And it's messed up, but I don't know. For the movie, it really works. I love it a lot.
Yeah,
And
his messed up
yeah.
worldviews like complement his mannerisms in terms of like the uncomfortable way he manipulates people and seduces people. It's such a
Mhm.
it's so messed up. His worldview is so fucked up. It's
Mhm.
like he's on such a high status of power in the upper class league that he ends up seeing everyone as inferior to him. So when someone is like cramping up his style, and like he just murders them. He just murders
Exactly.
them, and throughout the movie, we see those mannerisms start to get the hang of him, and he starts to murder people for dumber and dumber reasons. Just
Yeah,
like
exactly.
he
But
starts
by
to
the end
like
of it, during that end scene that may like he just shoots the one guy like in
yeah.
public for no
Because
real
he
reason.
just we're seeing this guy's reality just devolve. Like we're seeing his
Mm.
mindset and worldview. Because like at some point people have like these terrible thoughts, and we just hate them. Patrick Bateman over here is almost an embodiment of embracing these thoughts, and I think it's like and this mindset. And then it kind of like makes fun of like the upper class
Mhm.
league in that
Yeah.
case, and like how they value their freaking cards over
Oh
their
yeah,
like. I thought that was
that's one of the
hilarious to
funniest
me,
things. Because
and it
oh,
was
that's another thing. This movie's really funny too. It's like not. I don't think it's labeled as a comedy, and sometimes it's
it's funny
unintentional
because
comedy.
what
It's just
it's talking about with like the stupid
yeah, and how
lifestyle.
over the
Like
top
I
it
love
is.
how
Like how
over
this elite they care about stuff that really doesn't matter, like the business cards or whatever that one restaurant they keep mentioning
yeah,
Dorothy
it's
is just
clear
that
that's what the
they
movie is trying
using it
to say. Like
basically meaningless stuff
yeah, it's
like
like
that.
how exaggerated of a monster Patrick
Mm.
Bateman is, and the
Yeah,
movie like fully deconstructs like the
mhm,
mindset that he has when
yeah.
committing these acts. It's
This is one
it's
of the
interesting.
another one of the funniest, and it's like half funny, half just kind of scary to it. It's actually this movie's a very good dark comedy, if I were to put it that way. But like when they show multiple times in the movie that Patrick Bateman like he'll like say he listens to this like music or he
Oh
cares
yeah, I
about
thought
these
that was funny.
artists, but basically it's funny, but it's also kind of scary. He basically just like he's so detached from reality and has no idea how humans actually act. So he just like puts
Uh,
on this facade of what he thinks people listens to. Obviously, in the famous scene where he kills Paul Allen, he just recites basically this random trivia he knows about Huey Lewis and the News, but he doesn't care about that band. Obviously,
yeah,
he just rehearsing it. He's like a madman,
yeah.
basically.
It's
He just
now that you bring that up. Yeah, I'm still not entirely sure of what that part all meant. I don't even know what this entire movie meant, but there's like a lot of parts that like could be interpreted in a lot of
yeah.
ways. A lot of
Yeah, I
yeah.
just see it as basically he just wearing like well, like a shell basically. He doesn't know how people act, so he tries to put on this facade of like pretending he cares about this thing, so that just so he can feel more normal, I guess. But in reality, he's an insane person who'd probably want to kill them all. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like
neat. I like
we
that
see him
part a
like
lot.
getting into those instincts over time. The more he like he ends up getting away with a lot of his crimes, and he ends up like just completely losing it. Like, yeah, and
Hmm.
also I just love the ending of this movie as well.
Oh yeah,
Like it's just like
we
yeah. Let's talk
touched on
about
it
the
earlier.
ending. So like the entire like climax is when like it's honestly I think like in terms of my interpretation I think like everything that happened like near the climax of like the whole cop chase was all in his head mainly. Like maybe some
Hmm.
of that was real, but I think he just interpreted it differently because I don't
Yeah, I
think
think
he's
I'm in
so.
agreement. I feel like it's like half real, half not. Because I could buy that Paul Allen's dead, and maybe the other people, like the hookers, they're dead too. But I don't know, just the whole thing. I don't think the ending part happened, and I know it's kind of weird to pick and choose. But I think that also actually helps with uh with the theme too, because like he could just be an insane person. He doesn't know what's real, what's fake.
Uh
It
huh.
could be up in an air for a lot of it, and I find that interesting too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
He's just such a terrible like portrayal of a person, and it's just yeah the movies does a good job at developing that throughout like the
mm,
course of it. Like we're just seeing him become more fed up with this, and we don't know what stupid thing is gonna set him off next. Like this yeah, I love this funny part when he goes to the bathroom and he's about to kill the guy like who had a better car than him, and then all of a sudden he thinks that he's hitting on him, and then it turns out he's in love with him, and then he just leaves because he feels embarrassed, and like
oh yeah,
yeah,
that part's
I thought that was
weird.
funny.
Yeah,
Cause like
hmm
and like he doesn't even bother killing him because like yeah he feels like insignificant and embarrassed. He doesn't even bother with it and just leaves. I love that part. I thought that was funny. I think there's just like a lot
yeah,
of good moments like that, and like
yeah, and I think
Christian Bale
yeah,
really sells like the
yeah,
panic in
like,
his voice well.
hmm
Yeah.
yeah. Another thing that like I guess with the another one of like I said, it's kind of a combination of comedy and just like like dark, dark kind of like dark aspects is basically I like how it's that this part couldn't have happened. But Patrick Bateman, he's like all the people are like so interchangeable. Like all of like the rich people he hangs out with, they're basically interchangeable. They don't have any real personality or anything. So at
Yeah.
one point, Bateman, to help cover up the murder, he just pretends to be Paul Allen, and because they all
Yeah.
kind of look so similar or act so similar, he can like fit into that role perfectly.
Yeah,
Which,
that's actually yeah, that's a good way to interpret it, huh? Yeah,
yeah,
that makes sense. Huh.
it's just it's interesting into
Yeah.
how like
Mhm.
it's that society and everything.
Yeah, I also like the
Yeah,
scene when he kills Paul Allen and how like he even
that's an
calls him
iconic
like
scene.
he calls him a loser, and then like we see him just dancing, we see him with the axe, and then he just hammers him. We see him cover up the crime.
Try getting a reservation at Dorsia now, you stupid bastard, and then he just kills him. That
Yeah, that was
Oh, and then the
funny.
music they play the song and it's like a perfect it's the perfect like contrast where the fact that they're playing this jovial music, it should be like distracting, but no, it fits like
Yeah.
perfectly into the scene. Where it's like it's clearly being like it's clearly like off place because it's this happy like rock song playing over this murder, but no, it fits, you know.
Yeah, because we see him like
Mhm.
massacring him. I'm pretty sure that type of tone in music fits well with that. Yeah, it's good. Also, yeah, I think like in terms of back to the climax, I think some of that happened. Like I think he killed the hookers. Maybe he interpret that different. I don't think he killed one of them with a freaking chainsaw. I don't know about that. But I think the cop chase
That could have
scene was
happened.
just. I think that part was not real. Like when he like
Yeah.
blows up a car with a gun. Like even he knows that isn't real because he ends up like getting confused of how he was able to do that. Like he thinks like he's much like smarter than he is in some way. It's interesting. Like we see him like his life basically crumble before him, Like, we see that he's able to get away with everything. Like, I think he did a lot of the stuff, most of the stuff in the movie. I think he interprets himself differently. And, like, I think that
Mm.
works well because we're seeing it from his, like,
That's
mindset
another
and
thing.
worldview. And I
Yeah, it
think that
helps you
works
really
well.
get into like the mind of him because even if he didn't do some of it, you could like
Yeah.
see he just make because he's like an egomaniac, but he just only cares about himself and his lifestyle. So he tried to make himself look better and like everything. It just it's neat, right?
Yeah.
And you could argue the reason that some of the I like this interpret. You could argue some of the reason the other characters are kind of like one dimensional, like uh the other like yeah like his the other rich people. You could argue they're kind of one because that's what because Patrick doesn't like them, so he kind of frames them as like boring, uninteresting people, right?
Hmm.
That's another interesting way you can kind of look at it, or they're just all just like him except not murder. You could look at it like that too.
Yeah,
Either
exactly.
way, I think it's interesting because like this movie, it has a lot of stuff up in the air about it, like
Uh
what
huh.
happened, what didn't happen, but it never feels lazy. Like you can
Yeah.
clearly draw like some conclusions from. It's like you can draw your own conclusions and see what happened. It's not like what I
Hmm.
mean. It's not like the writers just making you be like you do this. I don't know. You can do the work for us, which is I feel
Yeah,
like
I
with
think
some
in this
horror
case it
movies they
like
try to
makes sense based off of like
yeah.
the type of
I feel
structure of
some
the
horror
film.
movies that try to make things interpretable. It just feels kind of lazy.
Yeah,
But
at
no,
times it's
they
all
do it
like,
well here.
you
Yeah.
decide what happens. Yeah, but like, I think it's like, and it usually just doesn't make sense, kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's just like a lazy way to end your movie. But I think it works here
Mhm.
because like it's actually more justified, and it's like it's an interesting ending. Because like, Patrick Bateman, near the end, he finally wants to get punished from his actions. That's for his actions. That's
Mhm.
all he wants. He realized the terrible person he truly is. Like the monster he is. So he starts confessing in front of his lawyer, and the lawyer thinks he's joking, but then
Mhm.
he ends up not caring because
He thinks
according
it
to
was a
him,
joke.
yeah, I guess,
A joke.
but he said that he had dinner with Paul Allen in London. So
Mhm.
maybe that was maybe he didn't kill Paul Allen,
Or
or
maybe
did
it was
he?
another person who looked like Paul Allen because they all look the same and they
Yeah.
all
Oh
act the
yeah,
same.
yeah,
It's like
yeah. That's a better interpretation. Yeah, but
you
maybe
can
he
look at it
didn't.
and you can look at it either of those ways. I find it
Yeah, I think this
interesting
film, based
anyway.
off
Like,
of its structure and writing, I think it makes sense
hmm
for the ending to be left up for interpretation like this.
hmm
I think like it's
yeah,
also
it's
well
very neat.
presented. I think like it definitely I think like the sound design is really good and tense when it needs to be, and just like
Mhm.
small scenes like the card scene when we hear like the stress and like the emotions that he is like feeling, like the
And like
pure
Christian Bale's
stress.
over the
And
top reaction. He's so mad about this business card. It
yeah,
doesn't
and
mean
then there's
anything
like, and
really,
then
but
like
it's
he
so.
also like does a good job at like playing this exaggerated type figure with him, like with like the type of
Mhm.
wacky and like absurd attitude he does when he's like friggin' describing the songs and whatnot. And I think this movie, I wouldn't call it a comedy or anything, but like I think based off of what it's trying to say, it's just really funny, and it's clear that the
It's kind
creators are
of like
somewhat aware
I
of it.
wouldn't say unintentional comedy. Like I say, in ways it's a dark comedy or
Yeah.
like a comedy or horror. In ways, it's not like strictly like one thing,
Uh huh.
but it works very well.
Yeah,
Like I
I
said,
really
yeah.
love this movie. I think it's like there's just a lot to
Um,
appreciate of what they were able to do with like the this commentary on the upper
mhm.
class league, and like how they portrayed it through Patrick Bateman, and like how he ends up like it's
Yes.
interesting because near the end he ends up not facing the punishment because he did so much terrible things, and like is to the point when like he faces the consequences of his actions, but like in like a different type of way when he finally wants to like confess, but he isn't able to because he's done so many terrible stuff, that to the point when
Mhm.
like he was able to cover it up successfully in some way, but they don't
Mhm.
care because like since everyone looks the same, and like you said with that, everyone's in the upper class league, in the end they're like almost all the same. They don't care.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
interesting. It's like Patrick Bateman, his life is crumbling before him, and the movie does a good job at
Mhm.
portraying that.
It's
That's
actually
what I
funny
like
because
about
in
it.
a way, Patrick, he has like his own personal like. Even though he's not technically punished in the traditional sense in the movie, the ending is just kind of like, in a way, in the ending is him kind of getting what he deserves because
Yeah,
like, because like
just in his
obviously like
own way.
obviously him technically getting away with it isn't good, but he's stuck in his own personal hell. Basically, he's stuck in this scenario where, like he said, he doesn't really have any actual interest. He doesn't care about Paul. He doesn't care about Huey Lewis in the news or Phil Collins or any of that
Yeah,
stuff. He doesn't even care about like. He technically cares about his like business and stuff, but after he stops caring about that near the ending, he basically has nothing. He's not punished, nothing. He's he's stuck in his own situation where like he can't
yeah,
get anything out of life
uh huh.
and he can't get punished. It's basically his own personal hell, and that's like in a way he gets punished even though he didn't.
Yeah,
I
and
find
then
that
an
really
issue, I
interesting.
think the film maybe can feel a bit slow at times, I guess, but that might just be a me thing for that. I don't
Hmm.
know. Like the whole
I
drug
think
scene feels
sometimes,
like it
but
didn't really need to be there and felt weirdly inserted for me. But I don't know. That's just a me thing. It's not that
I think
huge of
that,
a.
that I think that some of the scenes I'd be more annoyed by it though, just because the movie's very good at a dialogue, just like casual dialogue.
Yeah,
That's like one thing that I think carries it. Like just even like I don't think just talking scenes are good. That sounds like a weird
yeah,
compliment. But you know what I mean? Patrick Baer is the very interesting characters when he's talking, and how most scenes can like build up his image or like how he acts around. And it's interesting, even when like nothing huge is happening. He's
yeah.
just
I
an
know. I just
interesting
think that could have
character.
tightened the script a bit, but that's just a
You know,
me thing.
I get that, but
Yeah,
that wasn't
I
really
wouldn't.
a
Yeah,
problem.
but I still think this film is like does what it wants to do, does it successfully in a well written, well rounded way, and it does a great time job at like commentating on that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked Willem Dafoe in it as the
Oh yeah,
detective.
I forgot yeah, he does a good job too.
Yeah,
It just yeah.
yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
can't.
I'm,
Part of me, yeah, I don't know. Part of me wishes they
yeah,
did more of that, but I think that's like, I think
mhm.
that's okay. Now
He
I
does
don't know.
good. I'm mildly biased because I just like Willem Dafoe, so I'd
Yeah,
want more of
true.
him.
Yeah, I
Actually,
don't
I
know.
have a funny thing. Well, not funny thing. I have an interesting thing about that scene. Actually, the Willem Dafoe scene. I didn't know about this. I think I was rewatching his like first scene on YouTube, and I had someone point it out. Basically, so this will be a little bit of a ramble, but I think it's interesting. So for the first Willem Dafoe scene, right, where he's just talking to Patrick, he's interviewing him. They
Yeah,
recorded 3 takes of that scene.
really.
One where
Huh.
he doesn't suspect anything about Patrick, one where he just asks him like questions normally, and one where he's kind of confused and like is like, okay, maybe this guy did murder someone. They
Hmm.
spliced and they like combined those 3 takes and edited them all into the movie. And that might sound weird, but they did that to add to Patrick's like, his mind warping or the not like
Huh.
it's all
That's
to show the
interesting.
insanity of his mind better because
Hmm.
he can't even his mind can't even make up what someone actually thinks about him in
Yeah,
that
true.
situation.
Yeah,
I
I don't
didn't
know.
notice
That
that in the
makes
first scene, but
sense.
I think that's really interesting. It adds to like
Yeah.
his like fear. His fear, just like
Yeah,
his
there's a
mind.
theory
Basically,
I think I saw somewhere there was like a theory if he was if the detective was even real.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
that,
that's interesting. I
that's
don't know. Yeah,
interesting.
because like I guess that kind of explains why he wouldn't kill him. I guess at some point, but like to be fair, how
Hmm.
would he lure him or
Hmm.
whatever? You know, like how we
That
usually
also
do.
adds that scene also adds to like Patrick's facade basically because he gets asked about
Uh-huh.
Huey Lewis in the news. He says they sound too black, which is kind of weird.
I
But
guess that
I don't
kind
know.
of that
Because he's
might.
like you said, he's basically still putting up a facade, and
Yeah, I
we didn't have
actually.
to put up a facade because he's not gonna make casual banter with a
Uh
detective.
huh.
It fits
Yeah.
better, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Very
that's
very
kind
neat.
of yeah.
Yeah.
Now to think about it, yeah, I think you got me to based off of what you said. I know you've seen this movie more times than me, but
Yeah.
yeah. Now what you're bringing up is like, wow, that's actually an interesting interpretation. I'm thinking more about the story through this
Exactly.
discussion. It's interesting.
You
I'm
can
gaining
think
something
about it,
new
but
about the film, and yeah,
it's
I just
very
overall
neat.
really like it. I think it just like they do a good job with pretty much everything about Patrick Bateman and his character. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he's generally a really compelling sociopath, you know, and he's like, it's clear that he's just mentally like insane in terms of like how he interprets parts of his life and how he views the world and his like corrupt nature. You know, it's like it's an interesting deconstruction of his mind, and like it just does what it needs to. It does a good job at what it wants to do as a movie, and I really liked it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Boom. Love it.
Do you?
Also, one more thing. Jared Leto's in this movie. I think we should bring that up. He plays
I didn't even
Adam.
recognize him on first rewatch, mainly because I guess now when I see Jared Leto, I just think of more BS.
More, he's a good actor in this movie. He fits, but I think that's funny in
Yeah.
retrospect. He's
Oh,
the Morb guy.
this is probably his best
Morbius.
role.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
just gonna
definitely. He
assume
doesn't
that.
have
I don't
much
know. I haven't seen
competition, but
Jared Leto's entire filmography. I just know he's Morbius and he's the
mm,
Joker. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we'll talk about Morbius another day, and we can hype
Mhm.
that up because Morbius. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go. Anyways, do you have anything else to say about this movie?
I don't think I have much else to say.
Sam, I think I
Before this
summarized
question.
it well.
But yeah, Shorted, amazing movie. I love it to bits. This is
Yeah.
probably one of my favorites of all time, which you can probably
Nice.
gather from how I talked about it. But yeah,
Yeah.
American Psycho, very good film.
Yep.
Watch it. Yeah, short of it,
Yeah.
great,
Yeah. We highly recommend it.
amazing.
I'm giving
Oh, also
this.
wait,
Oh,
oh, wait, one more thing. American Psycho memes. Some of the best memes based on a movie. Just want to highlight that too. Very
the
funny.
Sigma male
Uh,
memes. Like
yeah,
it's funny because I like how deranged and insane of a
also kind of
sociopath he
adds
is
to
to the
the
point
funny
it's
thing. The
funny.
memes kind of add to the themes of the movie in a way, because a lot of them are just ironically praising Patrick's actions. Like, no, really shouldn't do it. It's they're funny too, but I think they're
Yeah.
interesting in that way. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's my final thing.
Yeah. I'll give it 9 out of 10.
I'll give it a 10. That might seem kind
Nice.
of high, but I
Yeah.
love
One
it.
of the best ones you've
Amazing
reviewed
film.
so far. Yeah.
Yeah, second. This might be it's my second favorite thing we've talked about so
Well,
far.
I guess we're done
Um,
here. Wait a
mhm.
minute. Wait.
Oh,
Oh no. Yep. We're gonna do it. Screw it. We're talking about American Psycho 2.
both baby, American Psycho 2, All American Girl.
Yeah.
Great
Honestly, we were
title.
debating on not even doing this, but you know, it's great.
You know
We
what?
saw
You
it.
know what?
We
When's the
both
next
saw it.
chance we're gonna discuss
We
American
both
Psycho
saw it.
2? Why
We might
not
as well
now?
do it. It's yep. Yes, so this is a very interesting film. Some people might not watching this might not even know there was an American Psycho 2, and there might as well not be. There might as well
Because
not.
this
This is
isn't American Psycho. Well,
it's
it is
not.
American Psycho
It's
2.
not it's not a sequel. It's not. It wasn't even supposed to be. It was never planned to be a sequel to American Psycho. It was
I know
originally
they
supposed to
changed it
be
last
a
minute
completely
because
different
I
movie,
guess
a
we need
completely
that
different title. Yeah.
American Psycho brand recognition.
Uh-huh. That was the
Uh,
only way they could sell this movie. Just slap the American Psycho name onto it.
mm,
I feel like the person who had that idea when doing that saw American Psycho once when it first came out and then just like forgot about it for like two
honestly, I
years
feel
straight
like
saying, "Hey,
you'd
let's
have
make
to
this a
not even
sequel."
I feel like you'd honestly. I feel like you didn't even watch the first if you were to do something like that. Because if you were to actually sit down
And
and
most you
watch the
just saw
American
the
Psycho movie,
trailer. And most he just
if
saw
you
the
saw the
trailer.
poster, because if you see the poster, that's why you'd think of the poster. Oh, it's about this murderer who does all
It's
these
about this
killings. He's so
badass
badass.
murderer.
Which I mean, I guess technically it technically is, but no, Patrick Bateman's not a bad. He's just this loser,
God,
insane
yeah.
person.
Okay, so
You don't
let's.
really get that
Yep.
from
Well,
this, because oh yeah, you wouldn't get that from him because he's dead now.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
so this movie
Died.
follows Meg Griffin from Family
Mhm.
Guy trying to get into a
Oh, yeah.
police academy thing, but then by like accepting some teacher assistant role that will help her to becoming that. Yeah, and then it turns out, and then like now yeah, spoilers for American Psycho 2 for the one person in the audience who cares. But
Yep.
yeah. So American Psycho 2, and then she has to kill. She wants to kill every other person who would have a chance at getting that role over her, and then
Hmm.
that's what she does. That's the
Doesn't really
movie.
have much of
That's
a.
the freaking movie.
She's
That's
so
it.
lame. I guess lame's kind of a lame, but okay.
Let's
Because
start
in the
off with the
original, like,
opening, because that's my
oh yeah,
biggest
I guess
issue
we'll get
with
into
it.
that.
One of the
That
biggest
is the
ones.
only part that has to do with American Psycho. And spoilers, it's awful. It's one of
Yeah,
the worst movie scenes I've ever seen.
yeah. So
Honestly, I hate
apparently,
it so much.
she like her babysitter's kidnapped alongside her, and then
Mm.
Patrick Bateman ends up seducing her, I guess. First off,
And
I'm
then
assuming this takes place after the movie. So, so like, why would he ever go back to doing what he does after that?
after that, he doesn't want to
Yeah,
like.
exactly.
Well,
Huh?
it doesn't make sense.
And why would he
At that
just
point, at
like
the end of
do
the
that?
movie,
Why
it's
would
kind of implied no matter what, even if he killed him or not, he just kind of accepts being stuck in this society, right? Or whatever. And if we're going to this movie's interpretation, I guess he did kill people. Way to
yeah.
ruin the fun of it being open ended, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's just
thanks.
implied.
But
That,
the director, creator, whatever the hell, said that this movie ain't canon, so it doesn't really ruin the interpretation. So thank God for that.
and that's well, I just look at it as not canon, even if it wasn't. But if looking at the timeline of American Psycho events here, this is just
Yeah,
like,
it's
just
just
what?
so. And
And
then
even if
she
even if he
somehow
did,
is
even if he did
able.
murder him, even if that was factual canon, it just what does even if he murdered people or not, like I said, that's not even really the point. The point is that he's stuck in this society where he doesn't get punished for anything, and he's stuck in his own personal hell. But if he's dead, he's dead. He kind of won, honestly. Like
Yeah.
he's done. You're letting him win by killing him.
Uh
So
huh.
congratulations, American Psycho 2. Patrick Bateman won.
Yeah,
Let's give her a
I
round of
guess so.
applause.
And at the
Good
same
job.
time, like, why would Patrick Bateman let this little girl in the house or whatever the hell they are? Like, what? And how? It wouldn't be that easy for her to kill him. I don't even know. It makes no sense. And then all of a
That's
sudden
why,
she's
okay,
all like,
listen, if we're saying that, if we're going by American Psycho's 2 timeline and saying that Patrick Bateman did kill people, if we're going by that, then in the original movie, the scenes where Patrick Bateman looks like he's killing people, he plans everything out super statistically. He
exactly.
plans a monologue when he's about to kill Paul Allen.
Huh.
He knows he plans everything perfectly. So I can't believe if that's true, then he's not going to lose to just some child with like a knife. That's not.
Yeah.
Patrick Bateman would not go down that easily
Uh-huh.
if he actually was had the
Yeah.
ability to kill
And
people. But
what annoys me is unlike Patrick Bateman, who is just like it's clear that Patrick Bateman is just clinically insane. He has this terrible worldview. In this movie, this she's just this annoying, spunky badass. That's what Mila Kunis's character is. She's
yeah,
just like that's her character.
the
Like
thing is
they try to like and like
they try to give her a motive and say, oh, she just
well,
doesn't kill
I
every
could
psycho
save a
killer.
bunch of lives when I'm older if like so I can make up for all these murders, right? Like she's a
But she
hypocrite. I
killed
just hate her.
people too. So like, what are you doing? I thought you wanted to spare innocent people. You're
Yeah.
killing innocents
Yeah,
too.
like
Sure,
Patrick Bateman is not a likable character, no doubt, but he's not supposed to be.
that's
We're not
by
supposed to
design
root
though.
for
You're
him.
not
That
supposed to find him
the
likable.
movie is not designed for us to root for him. But it feels like in this movie we're supposed to root for her. Like
Mhm.
why? It's just like and at the same time, like she doesn't have these terrible worldviews. She's just an annoying like teenager.
Honestly, in a way, she's honestly kind of more unlikable than Patrick. But I know that sounds weird to say, considering everything Patrick does.
Yeah.
But no, like in a way, because at least with in the original, it's kind of implied. Okay, Bateman, he's just this insane guy. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah,
He's mentally insane, and obviously it doesn't excuse anything he's done. But you can kind of understand he doesn't need a reason. He's just insane, and he technically has reasons, but they're petty ones, which are justified by him being insane. So that works with that. But with her, they try to give her a reason, and then it doesn't work at all. Like she doesn't like. It's so dumb. She killed innocents, even though she said that she like, oh, I'm gonna kill other American psycho killers.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Oh, yeah. And it's like, there's also like these scenes in a therapist, I guess, for some reason, that she just goes to. For some reason, I guess. I'm not 100% sure why. And then, like, the therapist is constantly, like, having weird suspicions about her. And then it's like, okay. It's like, why is this in the movie? But then it's answered near the end with this, like, terrible chase scene with, like, the police chasing her while she's trying to hide the body of the teacher that she ended up killing because the frickin' like student thing ended up being closed. So why are you killing her now? Have you gone insane? Because I don't buy how you've gone insane over these murders, because it makes no sense, because unlike Patrick Bateman, who feels like an exaggerated stereotype of the upper class, she's just this annoying teenager. So it feels like it doesn't make
she's
sense.
Not a satire or anything. She's just pathetic. Like,
yeah, it wouldn't make sense for her to go in this like type of craziness, I guess. Like, she ends up killing, like, a bunch of people. Like, she ends up killing her supposed best friend, I guess. Because, like, I guess she's having an affair with the freaking teacher for some reason. And that's, like... And then she ends up dying. And then near the end, like, I guess she tries to seduce the teacher by pretending... By, like, saying, I had a crush on you ever since I was a little girl or something. It's just... It's so bad. The dialogue is so cheesy. It is so
Mila Kunis is actually awful in this movie.
Yeah.
No offense. Like I don't know. She's good in other stuff. Like, I don't know. She's unironically a good voice actress on Family Guy, which is the other thing I know her for. But she's just really bad in this. The opening scene is... I think the opening scene might be her worst acting. The narration they give her was like, I couldn't wait to grow up.
I couldn't wait to grow up. I'm so quirky, huh?
Yeah, it's so bad.
It's so dumb. I hate it so much. Why was this made? Because money. No, it wasn't, because it wasn't supposed to be a sequel to American Psycho. Since they didn't put any thought into making this a sequel. Not a single thought. They just said, we're gonna make this American Psycho 2. We just acknowledge Patrick Bateman in one scene. Sure. Sure, just
it's honestly kind of an anomaly, right? Because it basically only has one scene to do with the original.
Exactly.
So you think it'd be less insulting, but no, that one scene is like one of the most insulting retcons in any movie. So
it's one of the worst retcons I've ever seen. It's like such a stupid way to call this a sequel. Like, oh my god, it's like. The kills. What do you think of the epic kills? She just
the microwave cat kill. Love that scene.
Yeah, she
the condom kill. That
so
scene
stupid.
Was incredible.
Yeah, amazing. And it's like she, unlike Patrick Bateman, he gets upset over the dumbest stuff, and the movie's aware of that because that's the point of the fucking movie. But here she's all like, "I'm gonna murder you because you're not." Because I'm an impatient asshole. That's why I'm gonna kill this. I'm gonna kill the freaking office lady because she didn't let me do whatever. I already forgot what, but I know she just did that for a stupid reason or whatever. Like, she just kills these innocent people just out of like jealousy and spite. And it's like the movie, like,
because when Patrick kills innocent people, he's insane. When she kills him, she pretends she has a motive. When she's
she's so
honestly, maybe said she was insane too. That'd make more sense because I believe that more. Honestly,
it could have been made her more engaging, but she's not compelling at all because she's just like, her character is just so poorly written and obnoxious to the point when like. I'm not supposed to cheer for her. Like, the ending is so bad. I hated the ending of this movie.
Well, she didn't actually die. Ooh, she faked her
The ending was so dumb. So for some...
that makes sense,
so she somehow faked her death in, like, a car crash I guess. And then near the end, the therapist is just like at this meeting, and he's all like, I really wish I could have studied her mind more. She was like anyone I have ever seen. She was an amazing strategy genius serial killer. Just like they try so hard to make this like this girl like a spunky badass, and it's just so embarrassing and dumb. Like I can't stress it enough. The music doesn't do a good
It
job at
tries
building
so hard to
tension.
make her
There's no
cool,
tension
and
to build.
it's actually
Yeah,
embarrassing.
the
I don't
music is just
like
like
it
they
at all.
blast us the music from the first film because this is a sequel, guys. Remember, this is a sequel. It has the two in it. What you want more Patrick Bateman? Too bad. We don't have time.
Who cares
We have
about
to.
Patrick
Who
Bateman?
cares about
It's
anything?
all about Mila Kunis,
Yeah, yeah.
who talks to him, who meets a character named Brian. That's the funniest thing about the movie.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
Brian. Brian.
Brian. Yeah. I think she tries to seduce him, and then she ends up just
Oh,
killing
that's
him.
lame.
I don't know. It's
Now,
it's
when the
just
condom kill happened, I forget. I haven't
I
seen
think
it.
it was with the boy. I don't know. I have to be honest. We didn't even bother rewatching it for this
Oh,
video.
I
We
did
saw it a
not rewatch.
while
I'm not
back,
touching this
so we're
again.
just like going here from memory right now.
Yeah, but I
I think.
remember all the I remember most of the dumb stuff pretty well, so it's not a problem. But
Yeah, it's just
it's
almost
abysmal.
fascinating of like the idea of taking this like beloved film and then like just slapping a sequel on it and be all like, wow, what, wow, this is a definitely a continuation, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It's just so obnoxious and dumb. The main character is incredibly unlikable. She's just such an annoying girl boss. They try so hard to do that. And
And
like there's
she's
for a
so
second when
cute.
she feels like she'll like I don't know, if you want us to do this, if you want us to sympathize with her, give her a logical motivation, maybe try to develop her at least, I guess. I'm gonna compare this to another movie that had this similar approach called Promising Young Woman, which I know it's weird to compare this failed attempt to a like this failed attempt of a sequel to a Best Picture nominee, but I'm just gonna compare it for a
Oh,
second. I don't think that's a great movie, but like yeah, for most of the movie, they this girl tries to seduce people as like revenge for people from murdering her sister or something, and then like she ends up supposedly going through character development, I guess, to make us sympathize with her more, I guess. I don't know, but then the movie kind of dodges that near the end, which is kind of my biggest issue with it. But like, I don't know, I kind of got that vibes with it in terms of like my criticisms. But at least that movie tried to develop this girl boss character to make us sympathize with her more, and at least she had logical motivations. Like, I don't love that movie or
yeah.
anything, but I think it's like 5 times better than whatever the hell this is supposed to be.
Hmm.
It's just such
Yeah.
it's just such an embarrassment in every conceivable way. It has dull and awkward dialogue, mostly pretty bad and off acting. Um
Hmm.
just poor and just overly goofy kills, take itself too
Yeah.
seriously. Annoying and obnoxious main character, and completely missing the point of everything that made the original so good. It's like it's
Yeah.
just so annoying. It's just like
I
I hate
hate it.
it. It's so
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah,
It's
the funny thing is, actually, to bring up Family Guy one final time, Family Guy ended in 2002 for the first time because that's when the hiatus happened. So, if you were looking, this is one of the only things Mila Kunis was in after Family Guy was canceled in the gap.
wow. So
So,
luckily she
golly,
came
do you
back to
wanna?
Family Guy, or else this would be her acting career.
Oh yeah, that's actually yeah, that's funny thing. She'd be stuck with stuff like this if Family Guy wasn't back. So,
Damn, that's kind of
thanks, Seth.
sad.
You saved her career. Thank you. But
Thanks, Family Guy. That's the
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
hmm
It's just like I don't even know what to say. It's just so embarrassing. It's just like a terrible idea. Just making a sequel like this is just so dumb.
making a sequel shouldn't even work, but making a sequel in the way they did
The
is just
music and
is
sound design is
pathetic.
awkward and dumb and cheesy. You can tell because it's like so much more low budget than the other one, which kind of like it definitely shows because this was
Yeah.
direct to DVD. So
It's also weirdly pretentious. It has like there's this one scene where like her teacher, I think played by William Shatner, I think from memory that
oh
was
yeah,
like
he is
he
played
goes
by
this
William Shatner.
where,
Yeah.
where, yeah, where he's talking about like they have this big discussion about famous like serial killers or whatever. And it's
I
like,
know, it's
oh,
so
they
dumb.
planned out their crime so well. It's like,
It's like,
okay, like
come
what is
on. It's like,
supposed to
it's
relate to
like,
the film, the themes? What do you want me to get out of
yeah,
this?
it's
Just
like, it's like, wow, there's just this badass serial killer. Because that's not what the original was about. Like, sure, he was kind of that in some way in terms of how he uncomfortably manipulates people in Patrick Bateman. But, like, it also at the same time, it was kind of like he's an exaggerated form of like the upper class status, like we stated like multiple times already. So like, yeah, yeah, and like here she's just like a badass girl boss. Like that's not the point of American Psycho. Like even at times, like he misinterprets what he does and over exaggerates it like that he's this master serial killer who can get away with anything. Like he ends up blowing up a cop car just by pulling out a gun and shooting at it, and then it just blows up, and he ends up putting a cat for a freaking money friggin' machine.
yeah.
Yeah, just
And plus, with
that
American
kids.
Psycho 2, right? With like compared to the original, you can't even like when the original movie gets over the top, right? The most over the top it gets is just that big shooter at the end. But even then, it's easier to make the argument that oh, it was just in his head. But with American Psycho 2, there are so many over the top things that happen that it's you can't even make any arguments that oh, some of this stuff didn't actually happen. It's harder to there's no really excuse for how stupid it gets because there's no way it couldn't have happened. It all happened. You can't even make that argument because she's not really even insane like Patrick is. They try to give her a normal explanation, and it's awful. Yeah, like we said, awful, 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 awful.
Yeah, I hate it. I don't even know what else to say.
Yeah, we
It's just
can wrap up now if you want.
embarrassing, honestly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Worst thing we have talked about so far, I will say that.
Yeah, I
Worst thing.
honestly hate it more than Pinocchio, just for like
Oh,
what
I
it
hate
is in terms
Pinocchio a
of
lot
its
too, but
idea.
I have more of an attachment to American Psycho than I do Pinocchio. So yeah,
Yeah,
bottom spot.
new worst movie we've
Hated.
talked about, and I'm. This is
Eh,
my very first 1 out of 10 on this podcast.
this is
So
my second one out of 10. I gave Pinocchio a 1 too. But
fair enough. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
bad,
don't watch
stupid.
it unless you have such an attachment to American Psycho and you want that to be ruined for some
Actually,
reason.
that's another thing. If you just don't watch this movie, if you're not a fan of grotesque, the movie isn't even that vulgar, but just if you don't like extremely vulgar stuff for no reason, don't watch this. It's just
Uh-huh.
so it's so it's a disgusting movie on many
It's
levels. I
shit.
don't like it.
One
Yeah,
out of ten.
one as well.
Yep.
Hated.
So that's it.
Bad. Bad,
Yeah.
bad.
This time, yeah. Well, yeah, we're wrapping up now. Yeah. Thank
Yep.
you for tuning in for
Thanks
another
for listening.
episode. Stay tuned for next week.
Uh,
When we talk about
it's about drive. It's about power. It's we stay hungry, we devour.
yeah,
That's
that's a
your only
hint.
hint.
That's a hint. That's a hint to one
Yeah.
of the
Okay. There we
movies
go.
we'll talk
There we
about.
go. We'll do that. That's our
Yeah,
hint
we'll
for
just
the
do
next
one
one.
hint for one of the movies every episode.
That's
If you
a very
want,
good
and if
idea.
you really
I
want to
can
see
do that.
them, if you really want to see them, I guess I'll link our letterboxes so you could follow them to see like what we log and like what our next stuff will be. But yeah, we kind of switched this one. Luckily we did. I didn't watch Halloween 3 before you changed it to American Psycho.
Yeah, don't worry. I let you know
Um,
early, so
yeah,
we didn't.
luckily
I
it
didn't
wasn't
force you
last
to watch
second.
something for no reason.
Yeah,
So yeah.
so, yeah. Yeah, it was nice to do this. We are always gonna do this at some point, so yeah, might as well do it. I guess
Yeah.
since my icon is Squidward, maybe we'll do the SpongeBob movies. I don't know.
Ooh, yeah, we could.
Yeah, we
I have
maybe.
I have weirdly a lot to say about the second SpongeBob movie if we were ever to
Really?
discuss those. So
Okay, yeah,
I
maybe
would
one
be
day we'll
down for
do
that
all
eventually.
three
Just potential
SpongeBob
idea.
movies, or like other ones, because I know they're gonna make more SpongeBob
We
movies.
could do a Camp Coral episode.
No, we're not doing that. No, no,
Oh,
no.
mm,
Just no.
oh,
Anyways,
oh
yeah.
well.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. We'll see what we do. We might. I don't know if we'll stick to like our icons with like these two things, or we might switch them up at some point. I don't know. We're still trying to see what we do with the thumbnails and whatnot, what to do for our icons to represent us. I don't know. But yeah, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you. Bye.
Have a nice day. Bye bye.